Hello and welcome to Queendom TV, and today guys we're going to be talking about another one of my conspiracy theories, and that conspiracy theory being that the devil is trying to kill Chris Brown. Now I don't talk about this stuff lightly, and you guys know that I don't use terms like the devil or kill lightly because I of course am a woman of faith. I believe in God. Me and him have a relationship. Gotta love my father upstairs. And so for me to say this stuff, it's been a long time coming. I want to preface all of this by saying that I have been a Chris Brown fan I was rather a Chris Brown fan for a very long time. Like since I was 10. When I was 10 or 9 is when I started being a fan of Chris Brown. And I remember this because it was around that time when him and Jordan Sparks came together to do No Air, and I was watching American Idol, and then I was already a fan of him, and then those two came together, and it was like my two favorite people at the time, artists, doing a song, and it was like the most amazing thing. I know I was really young, but that's how it was, and I was already a fan. And since then I used to download all his music, every single unreleased song. I had like over 500 Chris Brown songs. I don't know how many people, I don't think people even know that he had that many songs. A lot of them were unreleased songs, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as well as to why I think that the devil's trying to kill him. But what we do know is that along the way he has had many different things that have happened that have gone wrong. And I just want to say that just because I was a fan, I was never ignoring things that happened. I'm going to get into all of this and everything, okay? So just run with me. Please watch till the end, you know. But from, you know, him and the Rihanna situation and the domestic violence that went on there, from him going to jail, his battle with drugs. Recently he had this apparent thing that's happening. I think he was accused of sexual assault or something. I'm not really sure. But he's had so many different issues over the years, and I believe, right, and some of what I believe is based on things that he said, because over the years he's always spoken in his music kind of about different things. He's got this song called Matrix, which you can listen to, and in the Matrix he's kind of talking, it sounds like to me, a lot of people interpreted that song as him trying to say that he's trying to get out of a particular secret society that is running rampant and controlling a lot of people in the entertainment industry, and how he's trying to get out of it. And there's all of these different songs that you can listen to of his where he reveals certain different information that's just kind of interesting about where he's been. And he's very honest. Like, he's a songwriter. I don't think a lot of people realize how much he writes his own songs and also writes songs for other people, because he does write songs for other people as well. And one thing that I want to kind of start with in all of this is it says in one of his recent songs, he said that he's a little boy looking for help and guidance. Right? That's how he feels like he is, right? And his career started when he was very young. His career started when he was about 15 or 16, just before he turned 16, I believe, is when he made his first album. And since then, he's basically just been going until now, and been so successful. And a video that I was watching on YouTube, the guy on there was saying that he believes that Chris Brown was one of these people who, when he was born, when he was a child, was very quickly sold, his soul was sold to the devil in order to be famous, which is why he blew up so fast. Or maybe that was done when he was 15. And I can kind of understand why that guy was speculating in that, especially because you know, he references the devil a lot, and there's always been this tension. And this is why I prefaced the beginning with my history with being a long-term fan. He was always somebody who always seemed to be talking about against the devil, and always trying to be getting away from something, getting out of something, but it was almost like something he couldn't speak about. And I feel like this thing that he was trying to get away from or get out of was the industry, and was whatever contract he got involved in. Because as you guys know, so many different things, so many people in the entertainment industry get caught up into these contracts that they don't really understand. They get asked to do certain things, again, that they don't understand. And as time goes on, the more that they engage with these things, the more they're expected to do, and it gets darker and darker, and people want to get out more and more. But the thing is, the deeper you get, the harder it is to get out as well. When you do try to get out, they make that hell for you. And that's actually why I think so many of these situations went down in the way that they did, because as he's been trying to get out, as he's been getting away from this, he's consistently finding himself in situations where where scandals and things are happening. And it's because, you know, of the torment. And sometimes it could be the internal demons and the demons that are demonizing him, you know. And it could also be, and I talked about this in another video, It could also just be other people trying to do certain things. Like he spoke about, you know, everything that happened with Rihanna in a particular documentary that he did on Netflix. And it was interesting to hear his perspective and how he talked about, you know, different things. I do not condone violence, domestic violence, any kind of violence, not from man to woman, woman to man, anybody. I don't condone violence. So let's just start there. I think that was wrong, but again, I really feel that was a generational curse that was passed on to him. And I kind of touched on how this happens in a video that I did talking about pedophiles and rapists and how things can get passed on. And I think it's because he talks in one of his songs called I Needed You, and he talked about his father being abusive, and then he became abusive. And this is why a lot of these things happen, is because of the spiritual element, that when, you know, something is happens in a particular generation and those people in that generation don't get the deliverance and the healing that they need, whether they like it or not, it gets passed on to the next generation, because that's how things work in the spiritual realm. And even in the blood, even in DNA, behavior is passed on through DNA. That's why if you don't correct your behavior, you will pass that behavior on to your children. You know, so this is something that is not just in the spiritual sense, but also a scientific one. And so that was something else. And I think that plagued him, you know, the fact that he was continuing that. He struggled with drugs and alcohol a lot. That's been a big player in his life as well. And again, these are, to me, are signs of somebody who is in two ways. One, very much highly tormented, in my opinion, but also going through a lot and not knowing what to do and trying to stay alive, you know, which is really sad. I want to turn to this part where he says he talked specifically in a song about the devil offering him a contract for everything he wants in exchange for his soul. And he says, the devil came to me last week and he offered me a contract for everything in exchange for my soul. This is in one of his songs. And people, when they hear this type of stuff, a lot of people, they just let it go over their head, or they look at the devil as some like metaphorical person or metaphorical idea, as in maybe this industry which is evil, not so much an actual devil person or whatever. I take these things very seriously, because for me, I feel like the reason why Chris Brown has always been back and forth and was so popular but then was shut down very quickly, because let's not forget the situation that happened with Rihanna took place when he was 19 and she was 20, or he was 18 and she was 19. So they were both around 18, 19 when this thing took place. And I believe that this situation took place like this and it blew up in the way that it did, because I think even at this point he was struggling, trying to get out of this. Maybe Rihanna was as well, and they didn't want to allow for that to happen. So obviously this made him look really bad. He did what he did. He was provoked to that point, you know, or whatever he did. And it turned out to be really bad, right? It turned out to be really bad. And so that destroyed his career. I mean, I remember he wasn't able to come to the UK for years after that. He only just came to the UK like last year, I think, maybe even for the first time, when he came out on like the WizKid concert or whatever it was. And that was because of the laws at the time. So many people were like, we don't want him to come. We don't want somebody that's that abusive coming into our country, which again to me was odd, because not because I didn't think he should be punished, but because how come other people who've been caught for doing things are not being blocked from going to countries? How come like when so many other people have been caught doing like rape and pedophilia, like in molestation and stuff, how come they're not being blocked from going to other countries? Which again says to me, not that I'm, again, like I said, trying to say that his behavior was okay. I'm trying to analyze what happened, right, and compare it to other situations to see what's going on. And I feel like a lot of the reason why he got so much more hate and issues was because he's been constantly trying to get out of the industry. He always used to release these unreleased songs, and I remember there was once I literally was on, like, there was some live thing he did. I don't know how this was, because this is before like Instagram, but there was some live thing he did where he went live and we could all be on there live. Maybe it was on like MySpace or something. I don't remember if you could go live on MySpace, but anyway. And he wrote a song like in his kitchen, and we were all there. I remember it. And then literally within some hours, he posted that song. Like, he'd gone to the studio, he made the song, he recorded it. It wasn't part of his label or anything. He just released it. And he used to do that a lot. Just release songs just because. And I think that's one of the reasons, again, why the industry didn't like him. Because as you guys would have known for so many of the videos that I've spoken about, that the people in the industry who are in power, who want to have control, a lot of them who are being controlled themselves, or who are servants of Satan, they don't want you to do your own thing because they only want you to do what's going to benefit them. So a lot of his unreleased music, right, it's not going to benefit them. It's not being put through their channels, through their distributions. They're not making sure that they're making money. They're not having control over what you're saying. And so I think the fact that he continued to use his music over the years to try and come out and say things is why he has suffered so many more consequences or worse consequences than people who did similar things or people who even did worse. And him saying that he's a little boy looking for guidance, he's crying out to God, he's been saying a lot of these things, and you hear a lot of people talk about this stuff, this notion of like crying out to God, wanting to get out of selling your soul. And I talked in one of my other videos, guys, about why selling your soul to the devil, you can get your soul back. There's only one way to get your soul back, but you can get your soul back. You can't sell it anyway. It's not yours to sell, right? But selling, anyway, if you guys understand what selling your soul really means, go and watch my selling your soul to the devil video where I properly like explain what that is. And it just saddened me because as time has gone on, I've always watched him and it seems like everything is getting worse for him. And I believe it's because he's stuck in this society. Because the thing with the things of Satan, guys, right? You see, with God is very different. God, if you decide to walk away from God will let you walk away. He'll be like, oh, word? Okay. He'll let you walk away, right? He'll still be waiting for you and hoping that you're going to come back, and he'll be right there for you, loving you just the same when you do turn back, you know, but he'll let you walk away. The thing about Satan, he doesn't do that. Satan does not work that way. Satan does not want you to walk away, because the chances are if you walked away and you've got to know about him and who he really is, you going straight to God now. That's why you find a lot of people who regret selling their souls or have been involved in this evil stuff. They instantly want to go to God, because them seeing how real and evil powers, evil spirits, the devil and everything is, it pushes them in the other direction. Like, oh gosh, I need God. I definitely need God. And a lot of times God is reaching out to these people. You know, he even said that God spoke to me for the first time. In one of his songs, he was like, God spoke to me for the first time, or I heard God speak verbally or something like that, right? And so again, I think he's used his music as a way to inform us, the fans. I think this is why, for me, back in the days when he used to release more unreleased music, I was such a big fan, because his unreleased music was always my favorite, because it was so truthful and so relatable, and like he was explaining things, and I was concerned, and I've always been concerned about him. It's a big part of the reason why I was a big fan, is because I was scared for his life, you know, and I've prayed about him probably for years, you know, and I would still pray for him, as I would pray for I'll pray for Hollywood in general, for anybody who's in there who's a victim, and to just block, you know, the powers of Satan in the name of Jesus, and the powers of evil spirits in the name of Jesus, right? But, you know, he's just like, he's spoken so much about trying to get out of things that he just can't get out of, you know. And so I really believe that the devil is trying to kill him. And I believe it's almost like this dance that he's in, of like doing what Satan and the industry, and I'm using Satan, let's call it Hollywood, doing what Hollywood is telling him to do, but then trying to leave Hollywood, but then kind of being drawn back in because they destroy his life one way or the other, whether it be through addiction, whether it be through this, that, through scandal, through demonization, through things that he is provoked to do or he chooses to do or whatever, and then he's drawn back in again. And it's like this continued thing that he's trying to get out, but then he keeps getting pulled back in, and he feels like there's no way to get out. And that's why I feel like the devil is trying to kill Chris Brown, because ultimately, if he gets out, and this is the thing, a lot of people, if they actually were to get out, this is kind of like with Kanye West. Kanye West, at a certain point in his career, got into a car accident, right? And when I heard this car accident, instantly in my head, I thought, this feels like witchcraft. This feels like witchcraft. In this car accident, he ended up injuring his jaw, specifically. Think about that. You're in a car accident. Of all things to have a severe issue, it's your jaw, right? Kanye West, who now wants to be a rapper, who went from being a producer to being a rapper. These types of things that when they happen, I'm like, this to me is witchcraft. This to me is the kingdom of darkness trying to stop something. Because the kingdom of darkness could probably see miles off that God was eventually going to use Kanye and was trying to prevent that. And in the end, Kanye ended up deciding, you know, still fighting through it. He ended up doing his song Through the Wire, because this is how God works. The Bible says that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose, right? So with Kanye, with that situation, he was like, look, I'm still trying to do what I'm trying to do. He did his rap that he did Through the Wire while his mouth was literally wired up, ended up being a massive hit, and ended up doing a video and everything, and filming, having footage that ended up enabling his label to do what they were supposed to do, right? I believe that was an attack on his life. And this is what the enemy does. He's trying to attack people's lives and kill them before they can find out what their God-given purpose and destiny is, right? Or destroy their reputation so much, because so then they're just living, managing all the things that he's got them dealing with, as opposed to living a life of purpose. This is what you see happen with a lot of people who do believe in God or do find God. Is what will happen on the other side of that is, once you've found God, the devil can't take that away from you. So do you know what he does instead? He tries to make your life so much hell that you can't do anything with that you're just spending every day trying to survive. And I believe that's why so many people today are just surviving. That's how the enemy wants it to be. The enemy is happy with us just surviving, because then we never ever reach our full purpose of what we're intending to, what God intended for us, right? And we're never finding God and unlocking everything that he has, and allowing him to unlock everything he has for us in this world, right? So I feel like with Chris Brown, that's what's been going on. He's so talented. Like, this is why I was such a big fan of him, because he's so talented in many different ways. As an actual songwriter, somebody who writes songs not for just for himself but for others. As a dancer, he's highly skilled, in my opinion. One of the best natural dancers, if not the best natural dancer in terms of that kind of dancing in Hollywood. He's, in my opinion, still the best, to be honest, in terms of just being naturally really good at it and not being like cliche like some of the other ones, in my personal opinion. Of course, you may feel that I'm biased. So I feel like he's somebody that could really be used. A lot of people like him. He's had so many big hits, if you think about it. I feel like the devil's really attacking his life, and I would be praying for him more. I believe that all of these things that are happening are all demonic activity, some of which he's probably allowed into his life through doing certain things. You guys can check out my video about contracts in the kingdom of darkness, in this contracts in the spiritual realm. Look out for that, guys. That video where you can understand how demons, evil spirits gain legal access to us in the spiritual world in ways that we don't understand, in contracts that we form, we don't even know that we're doing them. So I really feel like, I'm concerned for him. That's what I'll say. I'm concerned. He seems to be crying out. He seems to not be doing okay as time goes on. He's making music. People like it. He's becoming less and less of doing more things for himself. And I feel like he's getting deeper without having a way to get out. But unfortunately, the only way to get out of these things is through Jesus. And unless you decide to do that, the devil was going to try and destroy you and therefore kill you. Because think about it. Think about all these types of things that he's been through. The domestic violence, which obviously, like I said, I believe was even passed through from generational curse from his family, from his father, who abandoned him as well. And then the abandonment issues probably brought on a lot of things. And obviously all these addictions and everything. How many people die because of ODing? That's exactly what Satan wants. He wants you to die before your time. He wants you to die in despair, so that you never discover that God actually loves you. You never fully believe, get to the point to understand that God loves you, and that you have a purpose in this world, and that this purpose is something that you would enjoy, and that would be so fulfilling. Because as hard as it is being in this spiritual battle, and I must say this, I don't say this enough, it's so worth it, guys. Like, for me as a Christian person, it's so worth being in this battle on the side that I'm on. Because yes, is it difficult? Yes, do I face this, that, and the other? Are there attacks of the enemy? Of course. But guess what? God is always protecting you, and God is there when you don't even have the power. God protects me so much that I'm like, God, I can't even believe how much. Even the fact that I'm able to do these YouTube videos, honestly, guys, is just because of the grace of God. And the fact that he's protecting me. Because I'm telling you that Satan does not want you guys to know this information. That's why whenever people hear stuff like this, it's people who say this stuff. This is why they disappear. This is why they get killed. Because if you don't have God protecting you, Satan will kill you. Satan will kill you, and that's why I believe even a lot of things I've faced is for the same reason. Like, let's try and stop her so she doesn't use her mouth, because they can see that God was like saying, Nyasha, you open that mouth and you talk and you spread the truth so people know. Set the people free in the power of Jesus. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's what I got to say in this video. You guys let me know if you want me to hear more about this, but this is why I believe that the devil is trying to kill Chris Brown. I'm going to be praying for him, genuinely. And I recommend you guys, if there's any celebrities that you support, pray for them. Pray for them. Pray that God will protect them. Pray that God will find them and reveal himself to them and show his love to them, because that's what they need. That's the only way that they're going to get out. That, or it's going to be death. And that's the worst case scenario, but that's exactly what the enemy wants. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate that. And like this video as well, of course. Other than that, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one.